Selecting contractor. What are you doing? There again, you got to have that you got to know what your project is. But NRCS, look for recommendations, phone interviews, get a plan, a payment schedule, putting in writing. So let's just go through these right quick. NRCS, this is part of their technical resources is NRCS. A lot of offices still maintain a contractors list, and in most cases, those contractors lists will have people that's done jobs throughout the years, maybe for a lot of years. But, they're going to be a good source of a person to go to and say, I've got a land leveling project. Now, they can't recommend anyone, but they can give you a list of who they use. But I've got a project to do. Do you have anybody, and do you know of anybody in the county that does those projects? Standards and specs. This is very, very important if it's through a federal contract, is get the standards and specs. Know what's expected when you're looking at that contractor. You need to be able to tell that contractor what you expect out of them to do. Job sheets. Job sheets are basically a list of the deliverables. What's expected from that contractor. And NRCS we've already developed those, so there's no need to reinvent the wheel. If Mike wants to hire somebody to do some land leveling, he shouldn't have to go over here and write out what you want this guy to do. And then experience. I mean, you think about it, I don't remember off the top of my head, I had the number in front of me the other day, but millions of dollars go through NRCS on an annual basis for cost share for projects. So your local NRCS office is going to have a lot of experience with a lot of different contractors. They can probably steer you in the right direction. Get recommendation. If I'm going to level something, Mike just finished, call him up. Hey man, who did your dirt work? What would you recommend? Friends. Call your neighbor, somebody you go to church with, whatever it is, and ask them who they used and did they like it? Was it a good deal? Family, family's important, especially in rural Arkansas. I don't know how it is where y'all are, but for us, if you've been in an area very long and nobody ever leaves, that's kind of the way it seems. If you're one of the lucky few to get out, you might leave, but most of the time, you're kind of consolidated in one area. Came in there 50, 75, 100 years ago, and nobody ever really managed to get out. So family may be a good option. And then colleagues, your neighbors. John's laughing, he loves that. Your neighbors, your co-workers, even though, and as farmers, we don't do this. We do not call up our neighbors and talk to them. I don't know why, I've got some neighbors I know why I don't talk to, because they're trying to get my, I've got the 1,000 acres here that I farm, and that's the 1,000 acres that they want. But, we don't talk, and we don't talk near as much as we should. But once you get you find somebody, you made a few phone calls, you've got it narrowed down, do a phone interview. That's going to be important. Because you can't sit there and think, all right, man, I got John Lee, he's going to do my job for me. I got 40 acres I'm going to level. Well, he may not even want to bring a tractor out to level 40 acres. It may not be worth his time. He may have 10 tractors and they'd run over each other on your 40 acres. Financial references. Now, this one was an important one for me because the last thing you want to do is hire a dirt mover. He gets halfway through the job and runs out of credit at the co-op and comes to you and go, can you pay my bill so I can get some more fuel so I can finish your job? That you don't want to get into that situation. Other projects, ask them straight up, who else have you done work for? Have you done any work for my neighbor over here? Then you call that neighbor up and go, well, did you love it or hate it or what happened? Make plans. Go to that NRCS office. We overbuild everything. We build a structure for water control, we'll tell you a pipe drop, tell you it'll last for 25 years. It'll probably last for 50. But we got to cover ourselves. I mean, that's just the way it is. Get designs though. If you're doing something out of pocket, get that design up front from the NRCS office. At least then you know it's going to last. Financing. You know, it's the way of the world is today. You may not have all the money that it takes to do the whole job. You know, look for financing. There's 3% loans. There's tax credits. There's things that you can do to offset the cost of doing a project. And that's the next thing is don't let price be your guide. Just because he's the cheapest guy in town don't mean he's the best. He's just cheap. So what does cheap lead to? Well, if he's got older equipment, because he don't have the profit margins figured in there. So he may be broke down more, so it may take longer to do your job. So then you're looking at planting your rice. Say we're leveling the field, we're going to plant a rice. Well, instead of getting that job done the first week of April and getting that rice planted, it may be the first week of June and we miss a rice crop. Then we're sticking soybeans out there in fresh level ground and they're going to make 10 or 12 bushels. So don't let price be a guide. Just because they're the cheapest don't always mean they're the best. Completion dates. Talk to that contractor and say, when do you think you will be done? Now, you never know when a tropical storm is going to roll in and dump 8 inches on you or stall out and some mess like it did back in the spring and dump 16. You don't know that. But that contractor, if he's been doing a job any length of time, he can tell you approximately how long it's going to take, whether it be a week or 2 days or 4 days. But he should be able to tell. Payment schedules. Government contracts. This is very important. The government, when you sign the contract, they're going to pay you X number of dollars per unit, whether it's a cubic yard of dirt for land leveling or per foot on underground pipe. It's not going to change. It's not cost share. It's we're going to pay you this payment. You're going to do this project. You're going to do it to these standards. And with that, I talked to a guy this morning on the way down here. He wanted to do some line leveling. Just to get it to water down the middles is all I wanted to do. Okay. Well, that's within your bounds of your contract. You can do that. He said, well, how much does it pay? I said, well, it's 84 cents, just like it is for precision land leveling. He's like, well, that ain't right. This guy's going to charge me $2.50 a yard to do that. And he's only going to charge me $1.65 if I precision level it. And he said, but the yards to precision level, it's way more. I said, well, sit down and put a pencil to it, because it may be cheaper to precision level it and increase the value of your land rather than just making it irrigate a little more efficiently. So your government contracts, you've got to know all of what's coming to you so you can make your arrangements. And with that, I'm going to say this too. You better visit your office before and make sure that you've got everything that's required. Because we have got into situations where a farmer got a contract to do some land leveling, hired a guy, got the land leveling done, he didn't get a cut sheet before. He's like, well, I can get you an after. Well, after doesn't do us any good because we don't know how much dirt you moved. So then, here he thought he was getting $30,000 worth of help and he got nothing because he didn't follow the guidelines. So, financing. Know what you're going to spend. If it's through a government deal, you got to know where that's coming from. Other expenses. Underground pipe's an excellent example of this. You come into the NRCS office and you sign up for underground pipe. You sign up for 1,000 feet, 15-inch underground pipe. You're excited. You're going to get this money to put in this underground pipe. Well, your T's aren't covered. Your alfalfa valves aren't covered. They're all built within the price. That's why it's a higher, it looks like instead of paying $8 a foot for underground pipe, you're getting 10 you're so excited you're gonna make $2 a foot, but then you gotta go put in all your T's. You gotta put in your air vents. You gotta put in your backflow preventer if you're hooking two wells together or putting it on a relift. So there's additional expenses, and you need to know what those other expenses are before you get there. Put it in writing. Why this is such a big deal, I don't understand. But time and time again I see it where we start into a project and nobody got a contract signed. If that contractor refuses to sign a contract to do the job for the agreed amount of money in the agreed amount of time, don't fool with them. Because they're planning on trying to get to you. And that's all there is to it. If they won't sign a contract, they're not worth it. Find somebody else. And, you know, with that, that's probably going to be my biggest things about selecting a contractor is just use your technical resources that's available and follow those steps, do your homework, get it in writing, and you'll be fine. I do have one side note to the previous presentation that I forgot. As Mike and myself and John are part of the Arkansas Soil Health Alliance. And in December, it was going to be in October, but due to the scheduling conflict with the American Society of Certified Crop Advisors, or whatever they're called, it's been moved to December 12th and 13th, but at Little Rock we will be having the Southern Soil Health and Water Management Conference. So, and that is another technical resource that's there for our Arkansas farmers and producers is the Arkansas Soil Health Alliance. So with that, has anybody got any questions?